Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Self Care Sundays, where we're reflecting on excuses. We've been talking about it all week long of why we make excuses, the reasons behind it, and tips in order to stop those excuses. So, today I wanted to focus in on the most common excuses I have heard from my clients, from people, and from myself. But the first one I want to focus in on is I don't have the time. How many times have you heard that excuse? Have you said that excuse? If you have, like this video because this is for you. But when we say that, it's because our priorities. A lot of times we say we don't have the time because something may not be a priority to us. For example, for me, cooking is not a priority. Yes, we need to eat, and yes, I do eat. But I'm kind of lazy about it, to be honest. And when it came to this past week, I started a detox with my boyfriend and we meal prepped. And literally, that has changed so much this week for me. A lot of realizations I've had, but it's more about when we meal prep. And I've meal prepped in the past, but having things done in an efficient way and it's easy to do. And it's something that I'm now prioritizing instead of just making a quick smoothie or having something that's like frozen and throwing it in the oven, but really truly taking the time and energy to do it. I've noticed my energy levels are better and everything else around me I feel has really increased. Just energy, sleep, drinking more water, doing the things that I need to do on a daily basis. But I've seen the improvement because I made it a priority. So when we make something a priority, that excuse goes out the window because you're going to make time for something that's important to you. And nutrition is important to me, but how I do it now is going to be a different approach. The next one I want to focus in on is I'm not good enough. How many times have you heard that? Have you said that to yourself? I know it's something I've said to myself. And the basis of that is it goes towards your self-value, your self-worth, your self-esteem, everything around self. When we don't think we're good enough to have the person we want in a relationship or have the business that we truly want and see for ourselves, that can really make such a big difference overall. So that's the second thing. The next one I want to focus in on is it will be difficult. No one starts out perfect. No one is perfect. And I say that a lot because it's true, and I want everyone to remember that. But when something is difficult in the beginning, the more we practice it, there's progress. It gets a little bit easier each time, no matter what. For instance, riding a bike. When we get on a bike the first time, we're not pros. Maybe you were, but majority of us are not. But after you practice it a while, you take the training wheels off and you're ready to go on the two-wheel bicycle and you're going. And that's part of life. You're able to take it, the handles, get on the bike and ride it. And it is difficult at first, but it gets easier. And then with business, when we start a business, do we know everything? No. Are things going to pop up? Absolutely. There's things that are out of our control a lot of the times, but it's recognizing too, it's practice is going to make progress versus practice makes perfect, but knowing that nobody starts out as an expert at all. It takes time and effort. It takes, I think, like 10,000 hours for somebody to be an expert in something. So recognizing that too, it will be difficult no matter what it is. If you're starting something new, you're starting a health journey, anything along those lines, it's going to be difficult, but that shouldn't hold you back. The next one that I really want to focus in on is it'll take a long time. So yes, when we start something, especially a business, it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. If you hear any success story, how many of them were an overnight success? Actors, business owners, investors, nobody starts out doing it perfectly. And that's what, when it takes a long time, yes, but is that a reason not to do something? No, if you really want it and you're really passionate about it, that is going to make all the difference. It's putting in the time and effort. And sometimes people are like, well, it's going to take a long time, or I don't even know if it's going to work. Well, as an entrepreneur, we never know if it's going to work, but we have that gut feeling that, okay, this might be it. And following our heart, following our gut, and knowing that, it's going to take a long time, but it's going to be worth it. Because anything that's worth it will take a long time. And last but not least, it's going to be risky. Well, in business, we take calculated risks all the time. It's important to remember too that when we're taking a risk, it's calculated, and it's part of entrepreneurship, even investing. I mean, just I've been starting to invest now too, and it is risky. However, it's calculated risk. So knowing that it's not a reason to not do something just because something's holding you back. It's looking at all the facts and looking at what can you do to really move past that excuse. So that's where I really want to focus in on is emotional and mental blocks. When it comes to those blocks, a lot of times it has to do with all or nothing thinking. So when we have this like black and white thinking, we're either like complete extremes and there's no middle ground, like the gray area. That can block us from seeing things from a different perspective. Because if we are so narrow focused on, well, this is what it is and that's the end of it, end all be all, you're not going to be able to see the different perspectives. You're not going to be able to see something like a different perspective or different light, or being able to just really understand that it's not all or nothing. There is a gray, especially in business. The next one is self-doubt. When we doubt ourselves, that can play such a role in our excuses, because maybe you don't think you can build that business you want to, or have that relationship you want to, or start that health journey for yourself. But when that doubt comes in, it reduces our ability to move forward. It allows us to stay stuck instead of moving forward and being able to achieve what we want to achieve. And the last two, I should say, is the fear of success. We talk about fear of failure all the time, but some people can have fear of success. I know I had a fear of success when I started my doctorate program, when I was getting my degree, when I was starting private practice, when I started my coaching business. I had this huge fear that what if it is really successful? And it seems crazy, but this is a real thing. But I wanted to focus in on that because a lot of people don't talk about it. And there is that fear, because then there's like, what if I can't live up to that next level? What if I stay here and don't progress? What if I'm not good enough? And a lot of those come into play in that factors, but there is a fear of that, and that can block us from moving forward. And the fear of responsibility. A lot of times we make excuses because we don't want to hurt people's feelings or blame someone else. So we take this, there's a fear of like having to take on that responsibility of making that or not making that excuse and saying how it is and being honest. So those are the ones I wanted to go over today, but thank you so much for joining. I hope you got so much out of that, and thanks for sharing your Sunday with me for a few minutes, and I will see you very soon. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk soon.